Peace and Pan-Africanism. 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 Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Pittsburgh Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Gettysburg Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Chambersburg Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my McConnellsburg Africans. Peace and Pan-Africanism to my Blue Mountain League Africans. I am at a very historical site today. I am at a very historical site today. I am at a very historical site today. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, Dr. Ifatunde Oguntade, and I am in the city where I attended high school. I am in the city where I attended high school. I am in the city of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. You should know Chambersburg, Pennsylvania for 4 reasons. You should know Chambersburg, Pennsylvania for 4 reasons. Number 1, this is the place where John Brown, and I'm standing at the John Brown house. I can't get in because they're closed today. I'm standing in front of the John Brown house. I can't get in because they're closed today. But this is where John Brown lived and hid out under a false name during the summer of 1859 before his historic raid on the Harper's Ferry military arsenal in Harper's Ferry, Virginia, which was to initiate a slave uprising that would destroy slavery in America forever. The John Brown raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia would take place on October the 16th, 1859. October the 16th, 1859. John Brown stayed in this home in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, where Dr. Umar went to high school. John Brown stayed in this home in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania during the summer of 1859. It was here where he made final plans for the Harper's Ferry slave insurrection. It was here that John Brown, who was a Caucasian, made final plans for the Harper's Ferry slave insurrection. It was at this house, brothers and sisters. It was at this house where John Brown collected weapons and rifles and other artillery and ammunition that he would transport to Harper's Ferry in time for the beginning of the October 16th, 1859 revolt. So you should know Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, because this is where John Brown hid out and stored his weapons for the historic Harper's Ferry, Virginia slave insurrection that would take place only 1 hour away in Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Although I went to high school here in Chambersburg at the Scotland School for Veterans Children, although I went to high school here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania at the Scotland School for Veterans Children, I never knew that the John Brown house was here. This is the first time I've ever came to the John Brown house. They never brought us at Scotland School to the John Brown house. And so here I am, decades after I've graduated high school. Here I am, decades after I graduated high school, finally able to come and pay homage to John Brown. And not only John Brown, but to the 5 black men who gave their life with John Brown. 2 of those black men came here to Chambersburg, to this very house. 2 of our African ancestors came to Chambersburg to meet with John Brown at this very house before the Harper's Ferry raid. Their names was John Anthony Copeland, rest in peace ancestor, and the other one was Lewis Sheridan Leary. John Anthony Copeland and Lewis Sheridan Leary, 2 black men who came here to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania to meet with John Brown And then they would all head over to Harper's Ferry, Virginia to make the final plans and preparations for the historic raid. So you should know Chambersburg, Pennsylvania as the hideout for John Brown's Harper's Ferry raid. You should also know Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, because this is where Martin Robinson Delaney, Major Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney, grandfather of Pan-Africanism, Martin Robinson Delaney. This is where he spent the bulk of his childhood after his mother had to escape from Charlestown, West Virginia, not because she was enslaved, but because it was illegal to teach free black children how to read and write in Charlestown, West Virginia. And since it was illegal to teach black children how to read and write in Charlestown, West Virginia, Martin Delaney's mother grabbed him and his siblings and came here to Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And this is where the grandfather of Pan-Africanism, this is where the grandfather of Pan-Africanism, Martin Robinson Delaney, spent the rest of his childhood. This is the black man who gave us the famous saying, Africa for the Africans, Africa for the Africans, Africa for the Africans. That came from Martin Delaney. This black man, Martin Delaney, who was friends with John Brown, who was friends with white man John Brown, who co-convened John Brown's conference in Chatham, Canada, to lay the groundwork for an independent black nation for Africans in America. Martin Delaney worked with John Brown. Pan-Africanist Martin Delaney worked with John Brown. This is the black man who met with President Abraham Lincoln and was commissioned during the Civil War by President Abraham Lincoln to become the first black officer in U.S. military history. I said the first black officer in U.S. military history. Martin Delaney spent his childhood right here in Chambersburg. Dr. Umar spent the last years of his childhood in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, at the Scotland School for Veterans Children. And the last reason you should know, Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. This is where my ancestor Frederick Douglass, my 4 times great-grand cousin, met John Brown with another black member of John Brown's army by the name of Shields Green. Frederick Douglass and Shields Green of Charleston, South Carolina, met with John Brown here in Chambersburg, where John Brown invited Frederick Douglass to be a part of his government for Africans. And he invited Frederick Douglass to be part of the war against slavery. Frederick Douglass met John Brown right here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And he tried to influence Frederick Douglass to join the army. Frederick Douglass told John Brown right here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, that your plan will not work and will only end in death. But Shields Green, who was living with Frederick Douglass in Rochester, New York, Shields Green, who was living with Frederick Douglass in Rochester, New York, told Frederick Douglass, he said, in very infamous words, quote, I think I will stay with the old man. I think I will stay with the old man. And that's the last time Frederick Douglass would see his good friend Shields Green. It's the last time Frederick Douglass would see his good friend John Brown. Right here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, was the last time Frederick Douglass and John Brown would ever see each other. The last time Frederick Douglass and Shields Green would ever see each other. And here goes the historical monument. Let me give you the historical monument. Let me give you the historical monument. The historical monument says John Brown boarded in this house For a while in the summer of 1859, under the name of Smith, while in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, he secretly received firearms and ammunition. Later in 1859, John Brown led a raid on the arsenal at Harper's Ferry, brothers and sisters. He led a raid on the Army arsenal at Harper's Ferry, brothers and sisters. I'm here to pay homage to the 5 black men who died with John Brown. I'm here to pay homage to the 5 black men who died with John Brown. I'm here to pay respects to the white man John Brown for daring to help my people get their freedom. Who were the 5 black men who died with John Brown an hour away from here in Harper's Ferry? They were Osborne Anderson of Chester, Pennsylvania. They were Dangerfield Newby of Virginia. They were Shields Green of Charleston, South Carolina. They were John Anthony Copeland and Louis Sheridan Leary of North Carolina by way of Oberlin, Ohio. Look at the John Brown house, brothers and sisters. Look at the John Brown house, brothers and sisters. This is history. This is history. Take a good look at it, brothers and sisters. I'm going to start doing my Black History tours. Who want to come with Dr. Umar on my national Black History tours? How many of y'all want to come with me and relive the history? How many of y'all want to come with me and relive the history? How many of y'all want to come with me and relive the history, brothers and sisters? I got to start doing my history tours. This is the house, brothers and sisters. I wish I could get inside, but they closed on Sunday. I wish I could get inside, but they closed on Sunday. I wish I could get inside, but they closed on Sunday. I just wanted to give you some history, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to give you some history. I will be the history teacher at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I will be the history teacher at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. I will be the history teacher at the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. Hit the Cash App for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. $ FDMG School. Hit the Cash App for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. $ FDMG School. Hit the Cash App for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. $ FDMG School. Hit the PayPal for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit the PayPal for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. This is the King Kong of consciousness. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism. This is Intercontinental Ifatunde on the Liberation Road, the Underground Railroad for Black freedom, brothers and sisters. Shout out to all my Pittsburgh Africans who came out yesterday. Shout out to all my Pittsburgh Africans who came out yesterday. Shout out to all my Pittsburgh Africans who came out today. This is your brother, King Kong Consciousness.